This week on this Snow White special, Adam Barlow, name me the 7 dwarfs.
Okay, so there's Doc, Bashful, Grumpy, Happy, there's Sleepy, Sneezy, one more. Come on, I've done so good. This is way better than I thought it was going to be. And
DOG.
Horny. No, wait, Dopey.
Yeah, horny. God. It's kind of funny that Doc, Grumpy, Happy, Sleepy, so they're all sort of known for like a personality trait, apart from Sneezy, who's known for something he does. Bit interesting.
Yeah, Sneezy's really boring, isn't he? He's boring.
Which one of those 7 would you be?
I think I'd be Happy.
I see that. The Google AI says, happy, as his name suggests, he's always cheerful and upbeat. Thanks, Google.
What does Bashful mean? What on earth does that mean?
Bashful. He is the shyest of the group and easily embarrassed.
Right. But he is just the horny one in the original. In the 1937 one, he's just like, ooh, can I get a kiss, please, Miss Snow White? Can I get a kiss?
No,
like
you
that.
pervert. No, you fucking can't.
Yeah. Doesn't she give them like parting gifts when she leaves their cottage? And she's like, and for you, I will give you a kiss, ha 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 ha, like that.
No, like you type in something in Google and then it says people also ask, and it says like other things. On Google, it comes up with who is the 8th dwarf, and then you click on it and it says Creepy is the 8th dwarf in the Snow White story. He irritates the other 7 dwarfs so badly that they send him to the cellar to live, where they go on living their lives, never giving him a thought. Then Snow White comes and we get to see what happens from Creepy's perspective under the floorboards. Hello and welcome to episode 62 of Movie On Up. Here today with your host, me, Alfie Walker.
And me, Adam Barlow.
We're on a roll. We just recorded 61, making up for lost time. Today, what are we going to be talking about, Adam? What films and TV show are we going to be talking about?
Yes. Well, in the film corner, we have the latest of the Disney remakes. Oh, everyone said. This week, it's Snow White with Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. 2 actresses that are everyone's favourite, I think. And then we've also got in the TV corner a Netflix film which has been like absolute social media wildfire. It's got a huge reception and everyone seems to be loving it. It's called Adolescence. I'm sure you've heard of it. But yeah, very excited to talk about both of these things today.
To start though, we're going to mention, on the way we always do, we always bring it back sometimes, we've got a little bit of news. And so this is on, literally finished announcing half hour ago. Marvel did this really weird thing where every 12 minutes they announced a new name and the full cast for Avengers Doomsday. I'm going to go through them, right? And tell me your initial impression. I don't think Adam knows the full list. He knows a couple of them, but I'm going to go through it, right? This is apparently the full list.
Should I react to each one with a word?
Yeah, okay. That's fun. Right. Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, granted.
Vanessa Kirby.
Yeah, we knew that.
Anthony Mackie.
Makes sense.
Sebastian Stan.
Cool. Nice.
Letitia Wright.
Okay.
Paul Rudd.
Oh, lovely. Cool.
Wyatt Russell.
Awesome. Sick.
Tinoch Huerta Maya, who plays the guy from Black Panther, the villain.
Oh, Namor. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's actually good, isn't he? So he's in this.
Yeah, he's good.
Yvonne Moss-Baccarat.
Yep.
Simu Liu.
About time. He's done all since Shang-Chi.
Florence Pugh.
Yeah!
Kelsey Grammer. So that is the OG actor for Beast from the X-Men.
Yeah, of course. Oh, God, yeah, he's in the Marvels end credits, isn't he? God, I forgot about that. Okay, cool.
Lewis Pullman, who is Sentry in
Right.
Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Danny Ramirez,
Yes. The Falcon. Yeah.
Joseph Quinn,
Cool.
David Harbour,
Who's David Harbour?
Red
Oh,
Guardian.
yes, of course. Yes. All right.
Winston Duke, who is M'Baku.
Sure. He's like head of Wakanda, isn't he? I think that's where they left it off.
Hannah John Kamen, who is Ghost.
All right. Do you know, I think they're giving that character a second wind because I thought she was good in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but it's just a really sort of wafer-thin side quest film. But I think that character and that skill set is really fun to play around with choreography-wise.
It could be good. Tom Hiddleston.
Sick. Now, actually, I realised this is the one I saw, but since discussing it off-air with you, I've now realised that might be interesting because Loki, of course, was left off in a really sort of finite, really sort of specific place. If you haven't seen Loki season 2, then go and watch it because it's incredible. But I've now realised the importance of him being in it. Like, that is really interesting.
And then I'll do these in a good old list. So we've got Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Alan Cumming, Rebecca Romijn, and James Marsden. So they're all reprising their roles as Professor Xavier, Magneto, the disappearing one, I can't remember, Mystique,
Is it Emma Frost?
And
Mystique's
and Cyclops. So that's the OG X-Men ones.
Okay.
And then the final ones, we've got Channing Tatum, Pedro Pascal, and Robert Downey Jr. That's the full list.
All right.
Missing Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Deadpool potentially,
Moon
Wanda,
Knight, She-Hulk,
Moon Knight, She-Hulk,
Daredevil,
Joe Locke potentially as Wiccan. There's a lot of missing ones that
Hulk.
people... Yeah, Bruce Banner, what the hell?
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you know, as you're reading them out, like maybe it's just because it's quite a long list, so I now can't remember the start of it. But I'm not jumping in my seat. I don't really care. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm excited for Doomsday,
same.
don't get me wrong, but I'm like, okay, yeah. At this point, it feels very that feels like a very boring transactional announcement from Marvel. If you join the live, you would have seen that it's just the chair, like a chair that you'd have on set with their surname on the back. And I think, did it have their character name or not even that?
No, so it just had the actor's name.
Okay.
And yeah, it would every 12 minutes it would slowly pan to the next chair.
Right. I just think that's really boring. I think it's cool, but I don't think Marvel's in a position to be able to do that sort of slow, drawn out, suspense-filled thing. Also, is there anyone in there that's a surprise, really, other than the X-Men cast?
The announcement before this was, we're announcing the cast. There's going to be someone in here who is bigger news than Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. Who? Tell me. I'm guessing they're saying those original X-Men.
Yeah.
But I mean, the only person on there that gets me excited is Ian McKellen, because I love him as an actor and a person, and I'm excited to see him in that role because he is an amazing Magneto. He is so good in those films. But I think that's a really, like, why have they hyped this up? Because we're missing Bruce Banner, Hulk, She-Hulk, Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, even like Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, America Chavez, like Wong, Ironheart Girl. Like, there's so many that are missing. So many.
Captain Carter, surely she's coming back.
Yeah, they're bringing back her. Well, did you see that news as well? We will go on in a minute with Rabbit in a bit now. But I saw them saying that they were testing the waters for all the reputable trades were reporting this, testing the waters that they were going to do animated characters alongside non-animated characters in this. Like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Robert Rabbit. Roger Rabbit.
Space Jam.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd rather they didn't, to be honest. You know what? The biggest thing that excites me out of that, though, if I have to be optimistic. Obviously, Florence Pugh. I think it's cool that they're keeping Wyatt Russell and they're keeping the actress who plays Ghost. I think John Walker is a fantastic character. I can't wait. Him and Yelena, right? I think those two are the ones that are really gonna get me excited about Thunderbolts. Which is not.
Well, at least
not
you know
far away
who's
now,
going to
actually, is it?
survive Thunderbolts now.
Well, yeah. It's pretty obvious. That
The only person
Taskmaster's
dying
gone,
is
yeah.
Taskmaster. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean she's hardly even in the trailers, so that's not a surprise. But I'm very excited that Loki's back. I really thought they'd kind of just sit him out for the rest of time, but it's fun that he's going to be involved. And yeah, I'm just excited to see the Fantastic Four, to see that film, and then to see them properly, properly step up and get involved. It'll be good. I'm excited for Doomsday, but I'm very damn cautious about it. Alfie, it's always important to whistle while you work.
Hi ho, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho. Off the remake train we go. These never stop, and I don't think they're gonna stop until they run out of films to remake.
And then they'll start
Disney
remaking
Snow
remakes.
White. Yeah, literally. It's like it in every industry though, because video games are doing the same at the moment. Side note: it's interesting that they haven't touched Hunchback of Notre Dame yet, which I
wouldn't
think.
dare.
Yeah, I think if they did though, that could be a belter of a remake. I think that would be like Oscar-worthy remake if they played it careful because of the subject matter and the religion aspect and the like Romany gypsy aspect and the Hunchback element of it. If they played that well and got a really good director, they could be like, that could be a good damn film. But they won't go anywhere near it because it's too controversial.
Yeah.
Anyway, Snow White.
Yes, so this film has been shrouded in controversy to an absurd degree, frankly. Let's just try and run through some of the issues it's had. Obviously, the casting, first of all, of Rachel Zegler. Is she sort of South American partly? Is that the
Yeah, so she's definitely
is that the deal?
brown skinned to an extent.
Compared to Snow White,
which-
I guess, but she is
Yeah,
like
which is
paper.
It's an interesting choice. She's also very vocally quite. I believe the way it works is Rachel Zegler's really pro-Palestine and Gal Gadot is really obviously pro-Israel. So there's that tension already. They're refusing to go on the press tour together, so there's no photos of them. Apparently they don't like each other on set. Rachel Zegler herself already is pretty controversial just because she's quite outspoken. And there is an interview of her saying how the prince in Snow White is a creep when she got cast in this role, and saying how she doesn't like the way Snow White is like a damsel in distress. So not a good start there. Anything else?
Well, you've also got the whole controversy of there just being dwarfs and that not being a politically correct thing anymore, I guess. So there was that set photo of 7 characters marching down a hill, and they're like, "What is this?" Like, and it's a very diverse group, and everyone was like, "Wow!" So they've got rid of dwarfs, and they've got this random group of people, which turns out actually to be, in the context of the film, those characters are still in it. They are the bandits that are friends with Jonathan, who is, Prince Charming in this film.
Yeah.
So that to me makes a bit more sense. Then you had the whole thing with, oh my goodness, what's the actor's name?
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage, that's it. Yeah, he said that. He said, did he say you shouldn't cast? In my mind, he said the opposite of what I was expecting him to say. I can't remember. What was it he said?
I think, from what I'm aware, I think he said, "Why are you making this film? You shouldn't be casting dwarfs, like little people," I think is the political term now, as it's making a mockery of them.
Right.
So Snow White, so Disney have run with that, and that's why we had these CGI monstrosities. But then, obviously, Peter Dinklage doesn't speak for the entire community of little people. And
No.
everyone else is like, no, I wanted this fucking role in this film. Like,
Yeah.
this film's about, you're going to be able to cast 7 small people, and you haven't done that.
Yeah, so it's a whole mess, right? It's a car crash, this film, and on top of it, just conceptually, it's a remake that Disney do that aren't really, they're very hit and miss, and also not really anticipated.
And should have been released last year for the 50th anniversary or 100th anniversary, whatever. Yeah, 100th anniversary of Disney, all right?
Yeah, or was it the year before?
Yeah.
It should have been. Is it 2 years out?
Yeah, it was meant to be for the big anniversary, but instead we got Wish.
Yeah, which I slept in. I thought Wish was quite boring.
Which I wish I never saw.
Yeah. Had some good songs, but beyond that, it was really boring. Yes, so Snow White, the remake of the 1937 classic, I say in quotation marks, because as we said at the top of this episode, I don't think anyone's going back to re-watch Snow White, really. To me, when I think of Disney, I will think of Cinderella, and I will then think of, I'll sort of skip everything between there. Yeah, then the Renaissance films,
the
right?
Lion King, Aladdin. Yeah.
And then I think of Pixar, frankly. So my Disney perspective is not overly broad in the 20th century, but there we are. I think I saw Snow White, I think it was last year, the original, in cinemas, and it's a really short film. I actually don't remember even that much happening in it. And if I'm totally honest, and I know I will probably get shot for saying this, put your pitchforks down, people, but I thought, if I'm really honest with myself, that Snow White is a bit boring. I don't think that much happens in it. There's not even that many songs in it. I think there's maybe 3 or 4. Obviously, there's Hi Ho and there's Whistle While You Work, right? 2 great songs. But I'm trying to think what actually happens in that film. Not really all that much. She gets banished.
She
from
runs
the
off,
kingdom.
right?
Yeah. She then meets the dwarves.
Huntsman. Yeah.
And then helps them tidy up. Then while they're out at work, she gets tempted to eat an apple. She falls asleep. The dwarves come back and finds them. Find her, kill the evil queen on the way.
Witch with a boulder, yeah.
Yeah. And then Prince Charming comes along and kisses her, and that's it. Which I know it's from 1937. I know it's a famous, that in itself an adaptation of a book. Let's not forget, an adaptation of a of a fairy tale.
Yeah, it's a Brothers Grimm, right? I think.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely right. So it's really got a huge place in history, and it's important, and it made Disney what it is today. It's one of the earliest animated films, and it's one of the highest grossing animated films and highest grossing films of all time. If you adjust it for inflation, it's a hugely impactful film. But for me, as a 21-year-old guy, looking back in 2025 at a film that came out, almost 100 years ago, it's not really that mind-blowing for me.
You're a Philistine, Adam Barlow.
I am. So, with that in mind, I went into Snow White not really knowing what to expect. I actually think Rachel Zegler is pretty good. I think she's very talented. I quite like her stuff. I think the Hunger Games film she did wasn't great, but I thought she was a good part of it. Her singing is flawless. She was also brilliant in a film that I will defend, is Shazam 2. I think it's better than the first film. It was one of those DC films that came out after we knew that James Gunn was taken over, so it really did get buried. And it's after Black Adam as well, I think. So it was properly in the void. No one was going to see that film, except for me. And I thought it was really funny, and Rachel Zegler's in it and plays a really charismatic character. So, yeah, I give Rachel Zegler the benefit of the doubt. And again, I never saw West Side Story, but that was critically acclaimed across the board. The Steven Spielberg one that's on Disney Plus. She's the lead in that, and apparently she does a fantastic job. So, I think Rachel Zegler's pretty well cast. I know looks-wise that it's a small hurdle. I actually think she looks great in the outfits in this film. She carries herself with a really regal energy. Her singing is unsurprisingly fantastic. There's a few new songs in this. I'd say actually probably just as many new songs as there are old ones. But she does an excellent job with the old songs. She's got a beautiful voice. The new songs, including specifically Good Things Grow, which is kind of the opening townsfolk song, which kind of introduces the story, I thought was brilliant, really good. I've listened to it a few times since, and I think it really cheers me up. It feels like classic Disney. It feels a bit like, you know, the opening song in Beauty and the Beast.
I was literally going to say that. That's exactly what you're describing it as.
It's almost a little bit of a rip-off of that, but I think it works on its own merit, to be honest. And then they reprise it at the end, and it's really heartfelt for like the kind of wedding scene, and that's awesome. We may as well talk about it now. Gal Gadot. People have been... I never knew that this was a real trend, but it seems to have been over the last 2-3 months, where people absolutely despise her acting. And I've never thought she was going to win an Oscar or anything, but I never realised she was quite so hated by people. I don't know if you were aware
Enough
of that.
champagne to fill the night.
Well, exactly.
Kalel, no.
Yeah.
Max Muller, I need you to give me the stone.
Give me the stone. Yeah. It's not fantastic, right? But I think to be objective and to review this film, there's some questionable line reading in this film, absolutely, from her. But she's playing the evil queen, and the background that they give that character is almost like she's an enchantress, like a kind of witch-type character that's come into the kingdom and sort of poisoned it with dark magic and has tricked the king and taken over this kingdom. And I think, like, you know, she's from a faraway land, and she can do all this magical stuff and turn things to ash and things like that. And
it's a cool angle.
Yes,
I like that.
absolutely.
That's cool.
Is it as iconic as the old Evil Queen? Probably not. But I think she looks really striking in the outfits. I think she's got... Because of the bad acting, she's almost inherently a little bit unlikable. But given that she's playing a really villainous character, I actually think it works in her favour, which is such a backhanded compliment. So sorry, Gal, if you're listening. But... man, I think it worked for me, and I don't know if I'm going mental. Bear in mind, I was fueled up on antibiotics when I saw this, so I may well have been high. But
Bro ate a poisoned apple.
yeah, I did. So she's got a song in it as well, and people have said she cannot sing. I think the song's great. Genuinely,
it seems catchy.
Yeah,
with the clips I've seen, it seems
the choreography
catchy.
is really funky. It's just menacing. It's playful. It feels like a song that Scar would sing. It feels like a song that Hades would sing from Hercules.
It feels like a good Disney villain song.
Yeah, totally. And I think objectively it
feels
is.
good.
Yeah. I'd love for you to go and see this, by the way. I know I'm still doing the review, but you should absolutely go and check it out, because I'm desperate to know if you also think it's actually pretty decent. I don't remember where I kind of came into land on Mufasa in this podcast, but I think this is way better than Mufasa, because Mufasa I found to be actively boring and conceptually a crap idea. Like the fact that it was a whole flashback but also a sequel, I thought it was so messy and just really boring and so derivative of itself and of the film before it. This is trying new stuff. It, I think, honours the original. It adds excellent new songs. It adds depth to each character. The stakes feel high. I think the final act is more of a spectacle. It's more, there is the quote-unquote message, but I don't think it's actually that. I mean, it is feminist, but I don't think it's not at all what people were fearing it to be. Like Rachel Zegler, when she was like, this is a different film. She's not going to be rescued by a prince. She is rescued by a prince in this film. Sorry, but I don't know if she hadn't read the script at that point, but she is. They don't remove the kiss or anything. That still happens. And then she goes in, but it's not like she's wielding a sword or anything. She's just intelligent, and she knows that she's a princess and she deserves the throne. And it's not in an entitled way. It's in a...
in a my dad was the king way. Like, it is entitled, but in a good entitled way.
In a nepo baby, yeah.
Yeah.
It's in a fairest of them all way, So you can't really knock it. And look, I think most people... It's almost a bit of a futile exercise reviewing this film. And I think I might have given the most optimistic and positive review I think I've seen.
Yeah, hands down you
Um,
have. I've not seen a positive review like yours, Adam.
I
will
also
say.
think, by the way, the CGI dwarfs, before their song was over, I totally warmed up to it. I think there are some shots in here that are horrific, and I wouldn't want to wake up to see. But
Put that on a poster.
yeah, yeah.
There are some shots here that are horrific.
There's a moment where Dopey has two jewels thrust in his eyes, and it magnifies his eyes, so he's got like loads of eyes. It looks like, and it was like The Substance. That it was quite funny. But you know what? Beyond that, after that song had finished, I was like, you know what? I think they're really. I thought they were cute. I thought they were really funny. The voice acting for them's brilliant. They're full of character, full of life. They can all really sing as well. All the voice actors that they draft in for the dwarfs are great. Yeah, I'm kind of gushing about it now, but let me just bring myself back down. There are flaws with it, absolutely. Of course, Gal Gadot's acting is odd and poor. One critique I have is Andrew Burnap, who plays Jonathan. For the most part, fine, totally serviceable. You know, does a good job, charming, handsome guy. My issue is, I think because he comes from a musical background, I don't know what his sexuality is, but he seemed really gay. So for him to be like swooning over, I know this is like a really like subjective. This is totally just me watching this film and being like, okay, I did not at all buy into him being. Maybe he is heterosexual, but the character and the things that he wore, like the outfit and the way he pranced around, and the song that he sings called "Princess Problems," sounded so camp.
Yeah, it's giving Jonathan Bailey and Wicked vibes from what you're explaining.
But I think Jonathan Bailey kind of pulls it off in Wicked. This is not. So I don't know. It just did not work for me.
Andrew Burnap. Let's have a look. Go on.
I know that's a picky thing to bring up, but it did take me out of the film when Snow White's looking at him and he's like, "There's no way that Jonathan in this film is a tool going for Snow White and not grumpy." Do you know what I mean? Like, so that's one thing. And to that point, I would say, and I think if any Disney executives ever heard me or anyone else say this, they'd probably be furious because this is not at all what they're going for. But I think, and hear me out here, part of the reason why I liked this film, on the whole, I don't love it. It's not mind blowing. And there's better Disney films out there. There's better Disney remakes out there. In fact, I think Aladdin's better than this, for example. So is Beauty and the Beast, actually. But I think it's got a strange sort of cheap, pantomime-esque kind of feel to it, which is weird because I know Disney, the whole point of it, like if you go and see a Christmas pantomime at your local theatre, it's people usually taking a Disney film, you know, or a classic fairy tale story that Disney has adapted, no doubt, and giving their own rendition of it with like cheap sets, sort of cute costumes, playing it a bit tongue-in-cheek, you know.
Yeah, drag.
Yeah, having a few adult jokes in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. This film feels like that, but a film. So and especially in the final act, like everything is white. Like, you know, everyone's got their same outfits, and it's basically the exact same, but in white and with diamonds, and it's all silver and shiny, and it's pastel colours. It's like, that is how you would stage and direct a pantomime. Whereas I don't think any of the other Disney remakes have been quite that pantomime-esque. But to me, that's quite a nice thing. I haven't seen a pantomime in years, but I grew up and I saw, you know, loads. I loved a pantomime growing up. Can you tell? So, yeah, I absolutely loved a pantomime. So to see this, it really kind of brought out a kind of inner childlike wonder in a roundabout way, and that's absolutely not what they were going for, but it did happen. And also, you know that film they did with Camila Cabello on Amazon Prime, where it's an adaptation of Cinderella? It feels a little bit like that in the way that it's like, yeah, it is a Disney film, but it's like not. It doesn't feel like
compliments, mate.
No, they're backhanded compliments.
Yeah.
Absolutely, but it felt really like Disney had given some other company the rights to Snow White, and they produced this, and it's like it's almost Disney, but there's something that feels a little bit second hand, and that's not just it being a remake and not just it being a little bit woke now. I mean it in like the production value of it. and some of like the acting perhaps. I think Rachel Zegler, I think she is brilliant on the whole, but I think you are constantly aware that she knows she's playing Snow White in the role. I think that's something Grace Randolph picked up on, and I was aware of that going in, so maybe I was looking out for it, but I definitely felt it.
God, what a review. I'm stunned by it.
Yeah, no words.
A real gear change here. As Adam just said off air, we're going from a campy pantomime to maybe the most realistic depiction of teen murder and grief that I've ever seen in a program. So yeah, nice and smooth transition there. So this is Adolescence, so the new Netflix mini series. So just the 4 episodes, and it is created by Stephen Graham, and I think then Jack Thorne is the other person who's the writer on it. Okay, interesting. So Jack Thorne also wrote the stage play Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and then the films Wonder and then Enola Holmes as well for Netflix as well. So so he's got some writing credits to him, and it's written by Stephen Graham, who obviously also stars in it. This is a British centric thing, isn't it? I think this is going to potentially do exactly what like Baby Reindeer did, where this is all we hear about in the Golden Globes next year, even though it's so early on in the year. It's taken everyone by storm, but it's 4 episodes, and the main sort of feature is that each episode is in one continuous take. And it focuses on a 13-year-old schoolboy and his arrest for a murder of a girl in his school. And it just follows the sort of life of investigating it in one episode, his therapy session in another, and then grief in another as well. Yeah, where do you want to start, mate? Because this is I don't think there's much more to say, but it is a kind of a mega challenge to try and talk about this in a sensitive and clever way. But go for it.
So it stars Stephen Graham as Eddie Miller, who is the dad of Jamie Miller, played by Owen Cooper, a young actor who hasn't, to my knowledge, done any acting before.
No, I think that's the whole point. He's done nothing at all, and they just found him. No fancy acting academy or anything.
Which is kind of crazy. Like, it's so... I think, actually, when I watched it and when I reviewed it on Twitter and things like that, I remember being like, yeah, he's decent, he's very good. But then I was like, I'm actually underselling it because it felt so natural. He goes to some really dark places in this. Like, he's got so much range emotionally, especially in episode 3. And it being one take, you can't, you can't, like, redo it. You have to redo the whole thing if you muck up. So to remember that script already is a huge feat for a child of his age, but to do it with quite so much nuance is nothing short of mind-blowing, to be honest. And he does it so naturally you almost don't even realise that he's acting, or I didn't realise. Really.
So I had that when I was watching it. I was like, oh, I think this kid is just a little shit, and he's just being himself. And then I've obviously seen interviews, and I'm like, oh no, he is a completely different kid, and that is all acting, and it's bafflingly impressive, like wild, crazy. Shows you how much talent is hidden in the UK, and just unfortunately, due to government funding and stuff like that it just never gets found. And luckily, something like this is unearthed him. But you think how many other kids there must be who are this good at acting, like.
Yeah. It also stars Erin Doherty as Bryony Ariston, who is a psychiatrist, I guess. Is that the profession? That sort of thing. She comes in episode 3, and you've got Ashley Walters and Faye Marsay, who play a couple of detectives, basically, that come in episode 1 and 2. So, shall we... I don't know, what's a good way of going through it? Should we just go episode by episode and kind of avoid spoilers if we can?
Brief. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, sort of brief episode.
Yeah, so episode 1 opens with Detective Luke Bascom and Detective Misha Frank sat in their cars, sat in their police car chatting about what they're about to do. Quite. In fact, actually, no, they're not chatting about it. They're just nonchalantly saying about diets and stuff. And then they get a call like, right, you ready to move in? And they're like, oh, okay, right, let's snap into focus. They then drive down this street at quite high speed, convene with a huge SWAT team, about 3, 4, 5 different police vans and cars all drive up onto this garden on this housing estate, I guess. Knock down the door, like, right, everyone on the floor, we need your son. And they start reading his rights out to him, right? And it is that quick and that sort of abrasive and shocking, I guess, with the force that the police come in to get this little kid, and you realise like he's wet himself in his bed, and it's crazy. You're like, oh my god, no, like what on earth has he done? What's he convicted of? You very quickly find out that he's convicted of murdering a young girl who goes to his school, but you don't know. Like, you're left for that whole episode wondering, did he? Didn't he? At least me, I really did lean towards like, oh well, he can't have, right? He seems to.
Yeah, same, absolutely, yeah. Especially when you have the one-on-one scene with him and Stephen Graham, and he like speaks to him like father to son, and like brings it down a level almost, and like gets rid of the police, and the music sinks out, and he's like, "Did you do this? You can tell me anything. I won't be upset." And he still says no.
Yeah, I guess we can say that he does, right? Because it doesn't.
Yeah, but you find out in the first episode. I think everyone knows. Yeah.
So that's kind of the real shocking ending of episode 1. But that whole episode I thought was technically, incredible, because you start on the street, then you go to the house, then you drive for about 5-10 minutes, maybe just 5 minutes actually, but to the police station. Then you're walking around this whole room, and you're seeing loads of different rooms and departments of the police station, the visitor area, the cells, the interview places. Just so many different locations.
This episode without specifically good at it, where you hand off between characters, don't you? You just said there, like you'll be with one character, and then that character will walk past another character, and then you'll start following them, and then you'll follow this person, and that's why I just wanted to get in there. Sorry, before I forgot. It's just the way it hands off between like the lawyer, and then the nurse, and the policeman, and the kid, and the dad, and it's just an absolute feat in how the hell do you set up these shots and follow it around. It's a marvel, for real. It's crazy.
It is, yeah. I loved the lawyer in the first episode. I thought he was really fun, because he's also he's called like Paul Barlow. I'm like, oh my god, that's my surname. I don't know. I don't really come across many Barlows, so that was quite fun. I think Ashley Walters is a really great character. He's a great actor in this show. He's in the second episode quite heavily as well, when they go to the school, and that is where you kind of. That's why I really loved the show. Actually, I thought the first one was exhausting. I was like, my goodness, but incredible. Show me more. Then the second episode, again, that follows loads of people around. And to have that many extras on the set as well, like all school children, like they must have hired out a whole a whole secondary school, and every teacher, every student, the janitors, they're all either actually in that role or actors, and it's incredible. It gave me PTSD, frankly, of what secondary school was like. I kind of forgotten, like, God, it is that jarring, isn't it? It is that full of people just lashing out and fighting on the school field for no reason. Yeah.
I've never seen like a school portrayed so realistically.
No.
And I think that is a prime example to show people what school is actually like, with teachers turning up late, and teachers being fucked off, and kids pissing about, and there's always one kid, isn't there, constantly, and it is such a good portrayal of what school's actually like. And this was my favourite episode personally. I just think the environment was really good.
I agree, yeah. Then you move to the third. It ends with a fantastic chase scene, and then a switch somehow from handheld to a drone back to being handheld, I presume, because you can't really fly a drone that close to someone's head, not safely anyway. That was a really powerful scene, and that then links up to episode 4 in a way, But I loved, and I only realised it retrospectively, how episode 1 introduces everyone. Episode 2 is then about the police and their investigation at the school. Episode 3 is then the boy, really, an investigation in him. And then episode 4 is a number of months out from the whole scenario, but then an investigation or just a look at where the family are and how it's affected them.
Yeah.
And I loved the focuses. I thought that was all really well selected and really showed great decision making from the whole creative team of the show. Episode 3 is the one that people have gone crazy about. It's a real sort of two-hander between Erin Doherty and Owen Cooper. They're just locked in a room, and yeah, they're just talking to each other about his his mindset, what he thought about romantic relationships at school, how he feels about women. Yeah, I thought it was really, really gripping stuff. And then episode 4 is, as I said, about the family. Kind of not so much happens really in that one, but they go to get some paint because the dad's van gets spray painted by some vandals. Yeah, nonce with an S. It's funny because I tweeted out saying, oh my god, they misspelt nonce, and then about 2 minutes later they do actually address that they have misspelt it, and it's just that the fact that the kids couldn't spell, which I find quite funny. I was like, yeah, that's quite a funny little detail that you didn't really need to do. But yeah, so they go and get paint from like B&Q or something, and then I don't know, that's where it kind of got a little bit. For me, at least, it lost me a little bit in the midpoint of that episode 4, where he goes in and he gets sort of creeped out by the staff member. I was like, that's where it's like, I think you're giving yourself a little bit too much credit here, maybe. Like, you're making this a bigger, more sort of sensationalist story than maybe it would have been.
Yeah.
But then I did
believe it or not, this does happen a fair bit. Yeah. And yeah.
I did like his confrontation with the vandals, though, at the car park. I thought that was... I really felt Stephen Graham carried that last episode. He's a brilliant actor already, but if I'm honest, I haven't seen him in all that much. But I think he felt so raw and so human. I'm like, God, if I was in that situation, I'd probably behave the exact same way, which is like scary. So
yeah, it's just such a real show. I don't know how else to describe it, but everything about it is so realistic. Like the family going about their own business, having this slammed upon them, not having a clue what's going on, and they say all these like big words to them in the police station, and then they've got no clue what these words mean, and they have to get explained. And then the school portrayal is so spot on, and the Erin Doherty's character, like being scared but trying not acting scared, then being scared by this like 13-year-old who literally is a murderer. Like, yeah, you're allowed to be scared of him, but she's trying not to show that. And then the moment he leaves the room, she has a like breakdown over like everything she's been holding in. And yeah, that I agree. The final episode did lose me, and I think it's the weakest by far, but not in acting wise, because acting wise that episode's insane. And the woman who played the mum, together with Stephen Graham, it's like, it's insane. The like depiction of like the sort of like, not grief is it, because he's only in prison, but just them trying to go about their normal life and do normal things, and then it coming up for a minute and then it disappearing and then it coming back. Yeah, the way he reacts with the vandals.
I'm also glad that fourth episode did give a bit of depth to the sister, whereas I kind of thought even halfway through that episode I was like, oh, they haven't really given her much to do, bless her. But by the end of the episode, when she's sort of gotten nicely dressed, and they have a little chat. At the very end
of the episode,
I thought that was like, oh, that is quite nice, because she seemed like a bit of a wafer thin sort of trembly girl that didn't really have much agency, I guess, but she actually did come into her own in that episode. And I thought the whole heart to heart with the husband and wife was really engaging, actually, for a scene where there's just like two people sat on the end of a bed. Because I could so easily imagine like my parents acting like that, or or anyone acting like that, any married couple.
It's just so real. I've never watched something that feels like it happened. Like, it just feels so thingy. My only thing is what I would have liked, as you said, the initial episode introduces everyone, and then obviously, yeah, episode 2 is the cops in the school. 3 is the kid and the psychiatrist. 4 is the parents. I really would have liked the 5th episode to then tie it all back together and bring all those characters back round together in a courtroom, and just had an hour with the courts and maybe with the jury. And I know that's difficult to do because of the way the one shot thing. But I think just starting an episode maybe in the middle of a trial, or maybe just before they're going to announce the verdict of the jury or something, or you start in the back room with the jury, and I would have just loved one more episode sort of tying it up nicely. And I know that's not the point. It's mainly about the experience of what this show was and how they want people to use it in schools and all the messages it's trying to get across. But just for storytelling's sake, I would have liked it to have been tied up again in a final thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea actually with the court case. That would have been quite interesting. It's fun when a show like that comes along, because I don't watch that much TV, but when I heard it's like, 4 episodes, 50-minute episodes, bring it on. And on Netflix, which I think is always nice, because Netflix just automatically, that's the kind of one streaming platform that you can bank that everyone has, right? Yeah. So I think if there was a show like this on Now TV, I don't think it would have done as well. If it was on Prime, I think Prime might have been the closest.
It's become part of the lexicon, hasn't it? You don't say let's put something on Disney Plus. You say let's put something on Netflix, don't you? Let's find something on Netflix, put Netflix on. Even if you're saying Netflix and you then put Prime on, it's just become synonymous with streaming.
Yeah. I really liked Adolescence. I thought it was very good. I'd like to see more challenging projects like that. I think the whole one shot thing can be a gimmick, but when you've got Stephen Graham writing, and he's obviously done it at the Boiling Point, which I guess must have really heavily inspired this. So I think Stephen Graham, whatever he's doing next, I'm going to be really looking out for it.
A nice change in pace here. We have got an email from listener Lenny. Yo, movie on up team. It's me again. I'm here today to talk about Prime Video's newest superhero escapade, Invincible Season 3. Getting right into it, I thought it was pretty good, full of all the violence and gore you would want from something like this, but also a lot of moments that tug on the heartstrings, especially the death of a character that I grew to love. I will not name for spoiler reasons. So this is Invincible. Lenny has been telling me to watch this for about a month now. And he's watched season 1, 2, now on 3. I've had loads of praise for this show. You, Adam?
Yeah, I've seen clips of the final episode, actually. I remember season 1 being really big, and I remember sort of being scared away from it, actually, because I saw a scene where there's like a body swap between a character and a new version of that character, and it was done in a really brutal and quite scary way. So I actually never really seeked it out. I think at the time I didn't have Amazon Prime, but I just saw it on YouTube. So I know it's quite a dark show that is willing to go to places where maybe just a show like The Boys would, but no one else is going to go there.
Yeah, it seems like Amazon Prime this is their forte with violent superheroes. Yeah, anyway, Lenny says, however, I do have many problems with the show. I think this is just how it's made, but it doesn't seem to have one strong plot line. Emphasis on one there. So he said it's just lots of plot lines. Earlier in the season, they set up an old villain who just comes back to be in one episode, and they do this so many times in the last 2 episodes. They have about 20 villains show up, 18 of which are joined, but it was still just confusing on what villain plot I'm supposed to focus on. Do I focus on the big main threat throughout the whole show, or the multiversal time traveling villain, or the multiversal clones, or the random villains each week? Yeah, so he's just saying how there's so many plots that it's difficult to focus on one. Another thing is the animation quality from first season to third has definitely decreased. However, I think this is definitely due to the budget being spent on the last 2 episodes of the season, as it's a huge spectacle. And I know the voice cast is pretty crazy on this as well, so I imagine that's where. Overall, it's a very enjoyable show with some awesome, sad and funny scenes, but it just gets so confusing when midway through the season Here you go. A dragon man tries to break multi-pool out of prison, while the time-traveling Steel Declaration of Independence, because immortal superheroes are now a dictator, while in the future, an electric superhero's backstory is set up, and a gay romance story about two supervillains plays at the start of the episodes, and then these characters are never seen ever again. Just reading that, I can tell you guys are struggling, so I'll end it here. But it's definitely worth checking out, but I would recommend watching it all in one sitting, as it's really difficult to remember all the minute details, because you never know if Elephant Man will come back again. It just sounds like, like a big clusterfuck of characters. I guess that is kind of just comic books. Thanks for reading, guys. Lenny. Who on earth is Multi-Pool? Multi-Pool's a good name. It's an excellent pun. Thank you, Lenny. I do need to get around to watching it. I've seen a hell of a lot of praise for it, so I'll add it to the list. Adam will never get around to it. I'm sorry.
Am I being slow? What's the joke with Multi-Pool?
Multi-Pool. It's a multiverse, and there's a character called Multi-Pool.
Yeah, I get that. Like pool.
Multiple. Yeah. His name is Multi. Space Paul.
Yeah, I get that. Like Paul from the multiverse.
Yeah. Multiple.
Oh, multi.
Jesus Christ.
God. It's a slow one today, folks. I apologise.
Adam's. Yeah, this is our second recording of the day. So.
I was there like glazing over. I was like, multi-pool? Yeah, I get that.
Multiple.
Auntie Pool.
Thanks again, Lenny. Auntie Pool.
Now it's time to round out the podcast with everyone's favourite recurring segment. Big question.
Big question.
Think about my paycheck there. The big question this week that I put on my story, to be fair, so have that as a caveat. It's on my Instagram. The question was, who's the fairest of them all? You know, Snow White themed. And the options were Wild Walker and Barmy Barlow with a lovely... I think your photo's way funnier than mine there. I think that's way more fair.
My eyebrows are doing something in that photo. I think they look incredibly, wild. Wild Walker. Yeah, spot on.
Yeah.
Go on. What's the results?
I wouldn't say I look very balmy at all. Anyway, the results were, unfortunately, 82% said I was fairer than you. Only 18% voted for you, Alfie.
I'm done. I'm always worried that I'm ugly and disgusting, and I had Josh call me Jumba in the last episode, and now I've had 82% of people say that Adam is fairer than me, including ex-teacher Sarah Palmer. So if I'm not here next week, it's because I painted a ceiling with a new coat of my brain.
Cool. Mate, you can't do that to your new house after you've spent all that time putting the plaster up. Surely, can't I talk you out of this?
Thanks for listening. We really appreciate you listening to the podcast as always. Even those of you who are snakes and voted for Adam in that there. If you'd like to get in touch and tell me how ugly I am, you can do so by emailing in hello@movingup.com.
And if you'd like to slip into my DMs and tell me how sexy and fair and true I am, then you can by going to @movingup on Instagram and TikTok.
Thank you for listening. You do have a couple of good films to look forward to, with both the Minecraft movie coming very soon, and anything else good soon? Death of a Unicorn. That one. That looks great.
Yes. With Richard Grant.
We'll maybe do A-list star in our impressions repertoire, especially when he's back.
Yes. We'll add the unicorn.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for bearing with us while we get over our illnesses and get through our house builds. But we really appreciate it as ever. Have a lovely week, and we'll be back very soon.